How you doing, everyone? This is Jay White. I'm co-founder of Soundzie, which is on Soundzie TV right now, which is a platform where musicians, industry professionals, music industry professionals that is, or anyone involved with the music industry in any way, shape, or form, whether you're a musician, instrumentalist, a singer, a DJ, a manager, an A&R, or even people who work hands-on with the music as far as stage hands, live show, production specialists, sound men, sound women, etc. You create an account on soundzie.net and you can interface with music professionals in town, in your immediate area, or from around the world and work remotely or line something up, something like that. So soundzie.net. And this is Soundzie TV. But today we're going to be talking about leased beats. And this is primarily for like rappers and R&B singers or people more in the music, the urban vocal music genres, such as, like I said, rap and hip hop, singers, R&B, even dancehall artists to a large extent. I've leased beats before, I've used them. So let's get into the scenarios, and you can also you'll be able to make up your own mind whether or not leased beats is a good idea. You know, for you, it's going to vary from person to person, artist to artist, situation to situation. So you get a leased beat. The first things, you know, you usually go on like BeatStars or SoundCloud or YouTube, and you know, you're just searching for beats. You know, or YouTube recommends them. If you constantly do that, YouTube will recommend them. So let's just say you go and you don't have a recommendation, like your algorithmically curated list of producers, which may or may not be like on the mainstream of these platform charts. So let's just say you go there, you go to like BeatStars or SoundCloud or here on YouTube, and you just type in like beats, rap instrumentals, beats, you know, or you have. And what's going to come up, of course, is the top engaged with beat makers, more so their accounts, like, you know, a lot of plays, a lot of likes on the videos, a lot of comments, you know, fire emojis. But you're not necessarily getting the best beat maker per se, and you're not even necessarily getting the most popular beat maker per se, but more so you're getting the most popular account, like how many views, likes, etc. Like I already said, like how many different, you know, how many people got notifications on, subscribe to them, all that sort of thing. How many people listen all the way to the end, or whatever the case is, add them to a playlist. You know, all that algorithmic data that goes to that particular beat maker. So, nonetheless, you get the top beat maker, and you're getting a lot of instrumentals from them. Let's say you say, oh man, I like 5 of these beats, and you get 5 beats from this beat maker, right? And let's say they're on like the top 10 of whatever chart you came across, or they're one of the ones that were just like kind of kicked to you on the algorithmic scale on you know, when you logged in and you started searching, and they were there on the side, like YouTube or SoundCloud or whoever wanted you to listen to them. So they're gonna have some traction in that type of situation. So let's just say you get a moderately famous beat maker. When I say famous, why I use the air quotes is because famous in that particular platform, okay? So, and let's just say they've got like 70, 80,000, 100,000 or more streams on this particular track within a time period of a year, okay? That means a lot of people listen to those beats, you know? And probably 10 to 20 of those people, well, out of 100 something thousand, let's just be fair, out of 100 something thousand, probably like, let's just say 100 people leased that beat or downloaded it, because a lot of rappers and singers, they don't even bother paying a lease fee. They just download the beat and perform to it, you know, oftentimes with the tag going all through the song, which is hella tacky. That's another topic, another conversation. So anyway, you got these 5 beats from someone who at the very least, 100 other people have used them. And out of those 100 people who've leased those beats, who have leased them rather, not used them, out of those 100 people who have leased those beats, commercially, actually paid for the beats, 100, not talking about all the other ones who downloaded it or converted it to an audio file that they could then put it to their DAW and record over. 100 people have these beats. Now, out of those 100 people, let's just say 5 have actually made songs with them. Now, they put them on the platform. Now, most beat lease agreements will specify that you cannot like put your I want to say like audio print on it. Like when someone Shazams it, it should not come up to you. Like if you lease the beat, when they Shazam that song, like it should, but the beat lease agreement says no in most cases. They say no, you can't add it into any digital print identifier. No one can pull this song up and be like, oh, that's you, because chances are the beat maker's not going to get any credit. Not in that Shazam pool or whatever other app that they use to, you know, listen to the song and be like, okay, this is this song, you know. So they say no, but artists will do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? They'll end up putting that print in there, or they'll say, yes, this is me. So when someone Shazams it, it comes up as them. They'll still do that, right? So let's say you come along, you know, and you just got those beats too. You put some real time and effort, like you got a good song. When you write a song, it's good. And you put it down, it's like, okay, I'm ready to put this up. And you're putting it up there, like you may even do it yourself. Say, all right, I want this to come up to me, as me, when someone Shazams it. You know, I want it to say the Flywaves, Malbec, or whatever, you know. You submit that track, and what happens is when you post it on Instagram, well, I don't know if this is actually the case now, but as of recently as 3 to 5 months ago, when you would post that track on Instagram, like make a post and try to include that track with it, well, let me take that back. Let's say you had a video editing app on your phone, like Film or, you know, one of those others. You could actually, you know, when you're making a video for you to post, you can add the music on your phone. So let's say you have your song on your phone and you use that as the backing track, and you upload that as a reel to like Instagram or to TikTok. What happens is one of those, whoever probably was first in submitting their information as the identifiable information for the song, if someone identifies it, chances are that when you upload that video with your song, but to the leased beat in that particular audio video file, it's gonna pull up this other artist, and you're gonna be, you know, it's not a good look. You know, people see your song, your video, but up in the identifier it says, you know, XYZ artist dash such and such song. So, you know, it's gonna prevent you, and if you're really conscious about your image and your look, it's gonna prevent you from wanting to post that, because you're gonna say, nah, you know, because it's gonna come up as this other artist, so you're not gonna be able to post some of your good content. Another thing is when you lease beats, and the same thing with the YouTube video. Let's say you go, this is my thing right here, because most of these beats cost between $250 to $500, sometimes $600, up to $1,000 for these exclusive rights to these beats. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people will pay maybe $30 to $50 for a lease, or pay nothing at all. And like I said, because they would download it through another way, or get the audio file somehow, some way, and even have the tags in it too. Even if that tags went all the way through the track, they'll still use it. They'll pay $0 to $50 on a beat, but will pay $300, $400, up to $1,000 or more for a video, because these video editors, video producers, you know, they're not cheap. You know what I mean? Their work is very tedious, so they're not cheap. and you spend that much money for the video, which is crazy because you might as well, if you're gonna spend that, spend it on the beat first. You will upload your video that you just paid like $1,000 or more to be produced, and your video content description will have links to another artist, to their iTunes or to their Spotify, somewhere, somewhere commercially that they're gonna gain rather than you. And chances are that if you make any money off of those video streams, it's gonna go to that artist if they selected a certain section in a lot of the DSPs, which allows them to have YouTube. Well, if they did that, then yes, they did, the revenue is gonna go to them. So you have that issue to deal with too off of a leased beat. Now, on the other hand, I talked about a lot of the cons. Now, here are some of the pros. If you're, let's face it, most rappers, most artists in general, their budgets are very limited. So, they don't have time. Like, you can write songs, like some people just write like non-stop almost, by the end of the week, they might have 3 or 4 songs. There's people like that. But what I'm saying is it's cheap. It only costs time and some energy and, some inspiration to write a song, nothing out of your pockets. However, if you have like 5 songs that are they have to get put down. Like, man, these songs are ready to go. I'm feeling them. I'm in the vibe. Like, I have to record these songs. You got 5 beats. Let's just say $250 per beat on exclusive rights. Times 5, you can do the math on that. You see what I'm saying? It can get expensive, So $50 lease. A lot of times they have like 2-for-1 deals. Beat makers will, have beats for like $25, or you spend $100 and you get 10 beat leases. So 10 beats for $10 that you can just have and be able to write songs to. That's a pretty positive thing, especially if you're doing it for like demo purposes, or you're not really too concerned about Spotify and the actual data that I just talked about, like it identifying to another artist. Me personally, I would feel a way about that, and that's a big factor in the decision-making process about leased beats right there. Let's say you want to send them around to music bloggers, or you're just passing them out to friends, or you're just promoting them to whoever. You have USB sticks, you just putting all these songs on like 1,000 USB sticks and going to hand them out. Something like that, it might, where you're just giving out tracks and not really trying to get like a monetary return from it. It's not like an investment in that regard, as far as I'm going to spend this money in order to see this game. You have to look at it like that too. That's a situation where you might want to do that. It gives you a chance to also work with that particular beat maker. Like, it usually doesn't work out like this. Well, it does probably in some cases, but most beat makers, they're just trying to crank out beats, get the lease deals, get the exclusives and things like that. They're not really trying to actually find, they're not producers in that sense. Like, oh man, this particular person, they may off on their own, but as far as in that beat market space, they're not really in there to look for people to work with per se. So let's just say somebody has like 5 beats and they're just a vibe, or 10 beats, right? And they're like a vibe, like, oh man, all these beats, they sound good together. You arrange them in the chronological order of how you would particularly think about an album to go out and play around with it. You write to it. You maybe even have some songs on deck. You download those beats and just lay those songs down. You can send it back to the producer, like, listen, man, like, how do you think about doing a partnership on this? If you really like how this sounds, if you think I made something really phenomenal with it, and something that could be marketed and streamed and capitalized upon, monetarily, maybe we should, do some type of deal where we go 50-50 on it. A lot of times that's not going to happen, because they're just like not really interested in taking a chance on it. And a lot of times their beats will sit and collect dust because of that. That's a different topic right there. So, but anyway, it gives you a chance to actually, let's say it's a producer that's like kind of 1 foot in the game, 1 foot in the internet world, You can download those tracks, make an album, and send it back to the beat maker, and be like, hey man, this is what I can do with your stuff. Think about it. So you can do that, and of course you can make demos. So I would say my personal just opinion upon it, and it is based on experience, is that I would use leased beats only if you have a relationship with that beat maker, so that you can say look man, if you can, just kind of set these to the side for a little bit. I don't want to block you from any money or anything like that, but maybe give me 3 months, just push these to the side, and I'm gonna go and try to get this bag from these beats, or some money from somewhere else. By that time I have a few dollars I can send you or pay you, give you for these tracks. I would try to do something like that. A lot of times that's not always possible. And so let me get to the more realistic scenarios. Me personally, I would just get tracks on a lease tip, just if they are not a very hot beat maker, a lot of people are not downloading their stuff, they're not on the top of the charts. You just came across them somehow, some way, and video maybe have about 300 views in the span of a year and a half, you know what I'm saying? I would get something like that. Basically what I'm saying is something that's not been used, you know what I'm saying? It's not been really used up by a lot of different rappers and singers or whatever. But I would not really advise making an album with it, you know what I mean? Because when you're making an album, you're really putting a stamp on something, and then some business comes up later, let's say somebody buys those beats exclusively, and your album is buzzing on the stream. Well, by that time, if it's buzzing like that, you're making some money, then you should definitely turn around and go and compensate that beat maker for exclusive rights on the beat. However, let's say you didn't. Your album is, in your friend circle and a lot of people's hands, it's really streaming. Your album is significant in your career, in your path. Somebody buys the exclusive rights to those beats, and let's say they're on top of their business, like I am, you know what I mean? If they're like me, once they buy exclusive rights to that beat, they're gonna comb the DSPs and all these platforms that stream music, and anyone that has that particular beat, they're gonna either inform them hey, I want you to take this down off of the streamers now, particularly because it's coming up with your name when I Shazam it. If you could just remove it, or not if you could, but go ahead and remove it from there. I'm gonna do that. Let's say they're on some low-key site like SoundCloud or something like that doesn't pull up the ID identifying information. I'll let them skate with that, because it's a beat that I now own, and who knows, let's say something happens, I get attention from that beat to my song, so I'll leave that alone, But like I say, if you made an album and somebody does that and they tell you to take your album down, how you gonna feel about that? How are you gonna explain that to your fans and people listen to your music, that hey, you know what, I took my album down because those are leased beats, and another person bought the exclusive rights, and they gave me a cease and desist letter, and now you're just giving it to them on a low underground. So that's kind of why I would advise against using beats that are leased for an album. I would not necessarily plan to make a video with those beats, because again, the content issue, the content identifier comes up to somebody else who may have the lease to that beat, or maybe if it's the beat maker that has the ID, the stuff comes up as the beat maker, then that's kind of cool, I would say. There are the pros and cons. Me personally, I think that with the pros and the cons considered, I think that if you can, I would stay away from the beat leasing scene. I would not lease beats. If you're serious about your career, you really want to have your song catalogs, carry with you through time, I would not use leased beats. It's just not a good idea. It's kind of a cheap look too. What I would do is try to find a beat maker to work with, and come at them on a business tip. Don't come at them with the talent first, hey man, I really think these songs, explain to them how you or planning to not only make great music to the tracks, but how you're going to market it, how you're going to position yourself and get those songs really up and running and generating some revenue, you know, because that's what the beat makers want to hear. They don't want to hear, like I said, they're not in this for friends. They don't want to have somebody else just using their beat and it's not making any type of money. So get your business plan together, present that to them, and you know, you never know how they'll accept that. Then when the talent comes in and say, oh man, they got this nice business plan, they really have this type of strategy in place, they really have this know-how in the industry, they get it, plus it's fire, then yeah, man, then chances are high that they'll work with you and you may be able to work something out like that. The key is just to think about your art as a very precious thing. You know, it's your baby. You know, you want to dress it up as well as possible. You want to have it clean and pristine. You don't want any peccable aspect about it. You don't want this, oh man, that song was hot, you know what I'm saying? But oh man, it's like 10 other dudes that got that beat, you know? Like after you blow, after you get, you know, some fame with your song, it's only natural that people are gonna then come and take the track and do their own remixes and put their own songs on it. That's just the game. But it's known as your beat. Like, oh, you know what? Oh yeah, that's that Rick Ross beat. Or yo, that's that Larry June beat. You know what I'm saying? People know the beats for that. But if you're coming up and the beat has already been out there, it's not like, oh, that's the Flyways beat. That's, you know, it's not like that. So that's my pros and cons on that. That's my opinion on it. And you can take that for what it's worth and make your own decision, of course. So anyway, oh yeah, by the way, I make beats, you know what I mean? I'm more of a producer though, you know what I'm saying? I want to hear your song, I want to see what you got going, catch the vibe, and then make a beat around that, instrumental around that particular track. But I do make beats. I don't really have like a beat catalog, anything that you can thumb through, anything like that. You know, I do have a lot of beats on the hard drive. I could make one of those, but anyway, this is Jay White. And you've been tuned in to Soundzie TV. Thank you for kicking it with me. Check out Ian Billing on Twitter, on Instagram. Check out his site, ianbilling.com. And of course, if you haven't already, go to soundzie.net, sign up for an account, be able to network in the music industry via your phone. Everything in one place. Chat, messaging, transactions. You can even sell stuff on there. As long as it's music related, and not copyright infringing or anything like that. There's even a marketplace on Soundzie. All right, y'all. Check me out in the next one. Of course, subscribe, like the video if you really liked it, and share it with whoever else you think might benefit from this content. All right, bless.